Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to another stream. Okay. I think I'll probably just draw on a normal piece of paper. I was gonna draw on my sketchbook, but doesn't feel right. Honestly, I'll just draw on the back of this one. Thank you. I appreciate it. How did you learn how to draw without a sketch? I just kind of decided not to do sketches and kind of just forced myself to like try to learn without one, really, and then just over a long period of time with a lot of ugly sketches, it just kind of builds up eventually across like, I don't know, it's probably taken me like 6 years of not using sketches to get to this point. A lot of kind of finding out what kind of works best for your own kind of, I don't know, way of thinking and how you kind of go about things. The main reason that I kind of draw without a sketch, especially now, is so that I can kind of see like the drawing happening as I'm placing down my lines. And it just kind of helps me figure out the direction that I want to take the drawing a lot easier than sketching. I feel like like especially with the subjects and different things that I draw, if I do those things with a sketch, then it makes it like gets very chaotic and messy really quickly. So it just makes it harder to kind of know or see what I'm actually doing. But doing these like bold lines and stuff, I can kind of figure out what is happening and kind of the direction that I want to go with the drawing. Is it really necessary to learn to draw without a sketch? Does it make sense? I think if you're just going for purely like how good the final drawing looks, I think actually sketching it out is better. I think there's a lot of like unneeded mistakes that would probably happen when you're drawing without a sketch. So I don't think it's like better necessarily, but I think it's just like a personal taste. I don't even think it's like necessarily faster a lot of times either, but I think it's more of a personal preference really. I would say the same thing for using a reference. Like I don't like using a reference, and I don't really like pencils or sketching ahead of time. So that's kind of why I don't do those things. But I think it's probably better for the output of the drawing, using a references and also sketching, because I mean when you sketch ahead of time, you basically get multiple chances to correct your mistakes along the way, and then they don't really show up in the end product. But if you're drawing without a sketch, then all of your mistakes show up in some way in the final drawing. So I mean, it just all depends on kind of what works best for you. I don't really think one is like a lot better than the other one. I can write in English if that's more convenient for you. I just wanted to surprise you with the fact that people from Russia are watching you. I think YouTube is like auto translated in it. Because for me, it's showing up in English when you type it out. But yeah, I see the translation like symbol now. Yeah, whatever works best for you. That's pretty cool that you're all the way from Russia though. So you didn't even realize at first that I'm Russia from Russia? No, I didn't. Yeah, it just goes to auto Google Translate on me, so I didn't even I thought you were um just speaking English the whole time. To be honest, I have to work really hard to understand English speech. But I think you're doing pretty well. I don't really know any other language besides like a little bit of Spanish, but yeah, I have to try pretty hard, and I would only understand like probably 2 to 3 words in a conversation, which wouldn't really help much. probably zoom out a bit. Hello, I'm Russian too. I don't have Russian on my keyboard though right now. You asked if there was a reason to draw without a sketch. It is a lot faster and you can learn quicker as you cannot change your mistakes. Yeah, there probably is a bit more brute force kind of learning to it. I feel like it does kind of depend on like the person's habits or personality too, because I think someone could like sketch something out in beforehand and learn very quickly from that too. So I think it's like a personality thing, 'cause some people might not learn from mistakes if they're sketching out, and then like ink is more more kind of helps lean towards that kind of way where you can like see your mistakes. So I think it kind of depends on the person, because there are people that like sketch out ahead of time and they're very precise on how they pre-sketch. And so like for that kind of way, it doesn't really matter too much that it's not permanent. But then yeah, if I don't know, it's so hard of a, I don't think it's like a yes or no kind of thing. I think whatever way you choose to do it, with a sketch or without a sketch, it's kind of, I think it depends on how you want to like end up drawing later on. Like if you want to, if you know you're going to do sketches anyways, but you're doing like pen for practice, I think it would like almost be better in my opinion to just like stick with the sketching first, because you kind of like whatever you practice, you're just gonna keep getting better and better at. So if you're practicing sketching and then you do like ink or painting over top, then you're like building up this kind of like function of how you draw, and the more you do that over and over, you'll just keep getting better. And I think if you do pen and ink or whatnot, permanent things, and then you'll get better at working with those permanent things, and it's gonna kind of change how you do your sketches, like, which might be better or worse. So there's a lot of factors to it. I think it's kind of hard to like just tell someone, oh yeah, just go and practice without a sketch, because that might like totally ruin their drawings or paintings or whatnot. But for some people, it might help a lot. But yeah, I mean, it can be faster to do with straight ink, and it can be slower. It kind of depends on like how brave you are with the medium too. I see some people that like work with ink right away, and their drawings take them like months to do, because they're very trying not to make mistakes, so they're very slow and like think about every line that they make. Whereas there's like a lot of comic artists that like pencil out and then ink, and they're like really really fast. Like sketching out can be really fast too, because you're in a way figuring out all of the ideas like very quickly. So if you have something on your mind, you can just like jot down a ton of different details and ideas all on the page, and then when you go to ink over or paint over, then you're just like very focused on that kind of task. It took me around a year to start drawing like you with a pen. At first, my drawings looked like they were from second grade, but now I can draw almost any person thing from my head. Yeah, it just kind of takes a build up, but that's cool to hear that that it's working for you. Yeah, um, it's just like an ugly period for a while. I think it's because it's such a different like I feel like it's a different part of your brain when you're drawing from imagination than like from a reference. Drawing from like your head or imagination, it's like you have to know how to build everything from scratch. So you're kind of like a builder or craftsman kind of, and you have to kind of problem solve a lot more. I feel like with references, it's more so about like accuracy and like there's just like different traits I feel like are more important with one or the other. I think some things cross over between the two, but there's some things that definitely don't. Oops. I'm having trouble giving characters accessories that make them interesting. It's like same outfit syndrome for every type of character. Fighter, wizard, barbarian all look the same. Um, I mean, it could be kind of a combination of you just have like a personal preference for what you like and for how you do your characters. But um yeah, sometimes if I end up doing a lot of like similar characters like that and you want something different, I'll kind of a lot of how I start the page matters a lot for if I'm gonna get something that's like a lot different. So if I was going for something new, then I mean there's a couple things that I'll often do. One thing that I really have liked doing in the last year or so is splattering down like a bit of water, watered ink, and kind of just getting myself like a base onto the page. And I find that that kind of is more of a confidence thing, but it does lay down like a bit of like a exploration to the characters and stuff. So I forget what the word is, but like when you see a cloud in it, kind of looks like something else or like a face or whatnot. So that can kind of like spark some new ideas, but another thing is just kind of starting with a shape that I wouldn't normally do. So I'll just like exaggerate some kind of like huge shoulder pads, and I won't even start the actual character yet, but just kind of drawing like these big shapes. And then from here, this is already kind of out of my comfort zone, and like it's not very good, but I can correct a lot of it as I go. But the main kind of goal, I guess, was to do a shape that is a lot different than I would normally do, and then you can kind of go through and change it or whatnot. But it's probably mostly a muscle memory thing if you're drawing a lot of the same characters, and also you probably have like a personal preference for what you find appealing for like the aesthetics of a character or idea. So like I do a lot of the same patterns on armor too, so I'll start with like, well, maybe I don't do a circle or some kind of like rounded design. So I'll just kind of place in like the rounded design. And I've never done a character with like a cone or triangular kind of helmet. So I'll just kind of place that in. And then I kind of like slowly building up a bunch of different ideas. And then I could put like some kind of armor. And purposely trying to make shapes that I wouldn't normally do before. And then from these weird shapes, I'm kind of just like making them work in a way where then I'll start to bring in maybe things that I usually draw to kind of just make it the idea more like foolproof or actually work in some way. So I kind of like these shoulder pads, so we'll go with maybe another set like on the back of him or something. And then from here, there's just like a lot of room for like exploration. And one thing that I kind of find appealing is that with this like triangle knight helm, I guess, it creates like this his outline is a lot better, and then I can like put these shoulder pads in here. If he didn't have this big helmet, he would kind of start to look like a ball, like if this was chopped off at the top here. So it kind of opens up a lot of unique ideas, and like with these big shoulder pads, maybe I have like some kind of cape that comes down. But yeah, a lot of times for like coming up with ideas of costumes or accessories, I like to kind of look for patterns and like repeat those patterns or those ideas. So like he gets a lot of rounded shoulder pads, and so like some of these other things I'll kind of use like that roundedness. And he also has the like the holes on the helmet are round. And now I have like these like gem sort of crystals on his shoulders. And so that's kind of another thing that I can use throughout the drawing. So I guess when I'm like exploring new ideas and drawings and characters and different things, I'm kind of taking like one of the initial themes and then pulling those throughout the rest of the character. So if we continued his body. And then like kind of thinking what adds like a good contrast. So he has a lot like compact inside, and I like how this inner part's like kind of capsulating him inside his armor, so he looks kind of like a protected like tank sort of character. And then to like change it up a bit on his outline, having like a longer sword, we'll just kind of break up the identity of the character. And then I could do maybe I'll continue that kind of triangle theme. For like accessories and capes or anything that you add clothes and all of those sorts of things, it can be, I don't know, I try to like break up the clothing a lot, so I try to think of it in sections as I go through the character, like how I did the shoulders and then the arm and then the helmet. And doing it in that sort of way gives me a lot of customization when I'm doing the characters. And I just kind of like work from head to toe, or like where I start my character, and then I'll work through until I kind of end up through the rest of the character. And a lot of the costumes, they're not very different from like the character's body. Like whenever I'm drawing a character, their costume is pretty much their body. So like I don't really separate it into, oh, I'm gonna draw their body first and then go into thinking what their costume is. It's kind of all at the same time. Like their outfit is kind of also the character itself. And for patterns, I'm kind of thinking a lot about like symmetry as I go through. So if I do something on one side, then I'll do it on the other the best that I kind of can. I'm also like, when I draw too, I'm always trying to like fill up the page. So that kind of helps with the flow of the characters. Just kind of me running around the page, trying to like put in different things. For contrast, I always like to have some part of the character, at least something on it, like very dark. It doesn't like have to be black, but something like a very dark blue or purple or something I like to put in, or like even a very dark chunk of a shadow. And that kind of just helps break up a lot of the areas. And then I could have his section over here. Then we can just see the hands a bit better. Yeah, so now I kind of end up with a character that I would have never normally drawn, but just kind of starting with odd shapes, and it can be really anything for the shape, like something you just kind of shake your hand a bit and spread some marker or ink. You could start with a colored marker too, and that can make some cool things as well. Sometimes I'll pick random colors when I want something new, or I'm kind of exploring ideas. I'll just pick like some random colors I've never used. don't remember what green I used for his helmet, but this one's probably close enough. Hey, what's up? Yeah, and then usually when I am kind of exploring ideas like this and I come up with something that's somewhat interesting and I ended up with like this is the character, then I'll go through and kind of like continue the exploring, but with like a different thing. So maybe I would draw like the same character. And then this time from a different angle. And if I want it to be like some sort of scene with a bunch of different characters, then I'll go and draw a bunch of like kind of iterations of the same idea to find a bit more out. Nice one. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I like doing this, and then when I go to draw, I can kind of like take these bits and pieces that I learned from the previous one and use that on like my later drawings if I need to, like little aspects. Like I just doing this, I'll probably use this kind of like design or shoulder pad later on. Maybe some like helmets that are similar or different parts that I kind of like about it. Yeah, so from just starting with like random shapes that I wouldn't normally do, it just kind of adds up and gives yourself a bit of diversity kind of for what you can do with your different ideas and stuff that you kind of built up. I also do this kind of way because I don't use reference when I draw, so I have to do something like this to kind of continue learning and building up ideas. I could do another one over here. You should make your own comic. I've tried. I've done like two and a half ish. I kind of get bored after doing like the first 30 to 40 pages. It's kind of really hard to continue. after after that, I kind of get burnt out very easily of drawing the same sort of like characters over and over. So, yeah, that's kind of why I haven't like continued doing them. But yeah, I've gotten told I should do comics so many times on stream. I wish I liked, or I don't know. I wish I could like keep up with doing it, but yeah, I just get burnt out pretty quickly on it. Maybe I'll try again in the future. I always liked working on them, but it always comes to a point where I get like extremely bored, where I literally cannot. I think it's kind of like I start to like lose the passion for it after a certain amount of pages, and I don't really like drawing when there kind of isn't that passion there. Because then I know I'm kind of not gonna like give 100% effort on each page, and that kind of bothers me sometimes. Alright, I'm gonna finish this character here and then probably end the stream for today so I can go and eat. But yeah, I will stream again tomorrow. I'm gonna try to make it a daily thing again. Hopefully long term too, because every time I decide I'm gonna stream all the time, I only make it like a week or two of actually streaming consistently, so. Oh, the style is really great. I love it. Thank you. Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah. I think if I was gonna do comics, I would probably have to stick with like one-offs, like 50 pages max for each story, and then I don't go any further than that, and then I start a new one. I think that would keep me interested enough. I have a couple that I did. I just need to letter them with like the speech bubbles and stuff, and then I can release those, but they've kind of been left on the back burner for for a while. One of them I did like 3 years ago with my dad, and that one's just kind of been sitting for a while. And then one I did earlier this year. So yeah, I'll try to get that out though. I'll probably come out with like a clip video of doing this kind of demo too, in case anyone wants to watch it or whatnot. I've been trying to keep up with videos as well. I kind of realized I used to try to post just every day, but I think that was honestly too much to do. So now I just have like the videos. I think I'm posting every 2 to 3 days. So with like that, I should be able to keep it up consistently. So now there shouldn't be like long months of not having any videos like what I was doing before, where I would just release videos every day for like a month, and then I would take a long break. Broken Draw talked about you in his recent videos. I haven't seen his recent ones. I know, like, I think a year or two ago he made a shout out post on his channel. I'm pretty thankful for that. I'll have to go look for that video. Do you know what the title of the video was, Sam? How to draw like Kim Jong-gi for free. All right, thank you. I'll have to check it out. All right, cool. feel like I need something in the sky. It looks kind of weird just having like this like line at the top. Add fire, and that would actually look pretty cool. You only do live on YouTube? Yeah, currently I should probably be like multi-streaming on Twitch too, at least. But yeah, still need to set that up if I do that. Yeah, I'll add fire. This whole drawing's about doing things I don't normally do, so I don't think I've ever added fire into the background of a drawing. It's kind of interesting though. Reminds me of like Sephiroth's outro on Smash Bros. Looks fire. Yeah, that shade turned out pretty good. I want to add orange for the flames, but I'll wait for it to... Gotta wait for the ink to cool off. You're practicing too? Yeah, I'm always practicing. I don't think I've ever drawn and be like and feel like I have it figured out really. I don't think I ever will feel like that either. Maybe I do pink actually. Ah, we'll do blue fire. I don't have a good pink. I think orange will look too normal. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I think orange might have been a little too strong for the character. The blue looks good with his to make his armor look more like armor-ish tone since it's more grayish. Yeah, so I'm gonna end the stream here. Tomorrow I'll probably stream a lot longer, but today I'm gonna stop to eat. But yeah, little quick demo on someone asked how to draw like different clothing and accessories to like not repeat the same kind of ideas and over. So I started off with a bit of a weird shape, like super huge shoulders on this character, and then kind of like carried the idea and then did a triangle kind of shape for his helmet, and then kind of carried the triangle in on his clothes and different things, and then kind of repeated the idea throughout the background with different characters that are all wearing the same armor, so that I can kind of like remember the look so I can use it for later drawings. And then earlier on the stream kind of started with this doodle of I don't really know what yet. Some kind of characters in water. Yeah, some lion or yeah, it's kind of more like a lion than a tiger, but so yeah, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's stream. So yeah. Yeah, I'll see everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a good rest of their day or night.